is Kyle. Just thought I'd make a quick video. These are going to be the top 5 things that I hate about the Jeep Wrangler. I have owned this particular one. I have a 2016 Rubicon JKU, which means it's the 4-door. And over that year, I felt like I've had a good chance to experience everything, and just wanted to kind of give you my opinions on what I don't like. The thing that I really don't like about the Wrangler is the gas mileage. It's not horrible. I have another Jeep that gets way worse, but it is also lifted tires. It's a trail rig V8, so that's kind of expected. Right now I'm getting 18.4 miles a gallon, which again isn't horrible. However, for a vehicle of this weight, size, to give you an example, my parents have a Pacifica, which has the exact same engine, a little bit different transmission, but they're getting about 25 to 26 miles per gallon highway, and it would be really nice to get that out of the Wranglers. Now, if you know this going into buying one, then if you're okay with it, you're okay with it. You do get a lot more capability out of the Wrangler than, say, a Pacifica. So, it's kind of my top one. Now, granted, I don't have to drive a lot, so that's good, but on long trips, it does come in. Second thing that I really don't like about the Wrangler is kind of the design of the features. So I have the Rubicon. Mine is a hard rock, so it has all of the features that Jeep could put in it. You know, leather seats, navigation, a nice touchscreen, and you are going to pay a lot for a Jeep, especially if you buy brand new, and even used. They hold their value ridiculously well because apparently everyone wants one. But you're going to pay a lot, and then you're really not going to get a lot of features that are standard. For instance, this again is a 16, and I have to install an aftermarket backup camera, even though I've got the really nice touchscreen. Now, I could have got the JL, because again, I bought this a year ago, and it was, you know, pros and cons of those two vehicles. But basically, for the price that you're paying, I really think Jeep should have given you more features. And if you want those features, like I wanted the leather seats, I had to pay even more than just the regular Rubicon. So, to summarize, the Jeeps they're expensive. I mean, my wife loves to say Jeep life is not a cheap life, and that's very true, because to get those nice things, those nice features in the vehicle, you're going to pay even more. If you just want a Jeep Wrangler, you're still going to pay. So my thought is, you know, just pay a little bit extra and get what. Going through the list, this is the next thing that I really don't like about the Wrangler, and that is the ride. I mean, it is live axles, front and rear. You basically are making sacrifices to make this an off-road vehicle. So because of that, it's never going to do as well on road. I mean, I don't know if you can tell I'm driving, but I'm kind of in a little bit of bumpy section, so we're going up and down a little bit. Now, again, for me, that's not a big deal, because I knew going into this that I was going to give up some ride quality. But if you are someone that has to have the best ride, then Jeep Wrangler's not for you. It's just not. You may look cool, you may want it, but unless you are willing to balance those things, it is what it is. It's never going to be a Cadillac. It's always going to be a Jeep. Number 4. So this one is kind of a double-edged sword. So it's pro and con. But as far as reliability and then maintenance. So with the reliability, Jeeps are very reliable, especially the Wranglers. I mean, they've made a ton of them, and a lot of them are still on the road. People don't like to give up on the Wranglers. They like to drive them, so when stuff breaks, they typically will fix them. And the stuff that breaks, and this is more on the maintenance side, each individual model of Wrangler, because, I mean, they've been making them for a long time now, but there are specific chassis designations. So you mentioned me, say, like a JL, which is the new Wrangler, the JK, which is what I'm doing. So you kind of have to learn all of that stuff to know what I'm talking about. but it's something you do kind of pick up as an owner. But for instance, the JKs with the 3.8 liter, well, they have oil consumption issues, potentially. I've never owned one, don't know that for sure, but it's what I read online, so it has to be true. Now you've got the JKs, which is what I have, and they have an issue with the oil cooler. So the oil cooler can leak, and it looks like you've got a rear main seal leak, which involves, dropping the transmission. It's a pretty big job to do, and with the cooler, I mean, it's still pretty involved, but it's not horrible. I mean, if you're pretty mechanically inclined, you should be able to do it. So as far as the maintenance, there's that right again. As far as the maintenance side, like I said, they can be a headache because of certain things, but the good thing is a lot of them have been made so that you know kind of what you're getting into, to make sure that you can look out for axle seals leaking or the oil leaks or stuff like that. But I've had a lot of experience reading things online, and I would say that generally the Jeeps are reliable. It boils down to individual maintenance. If you take it off the road a lot, that's going to put a lot more wear and tear on components. You get things like water and mud and oil, and that doesn't really mix too well. Don't know if you know that or not. So it's just something to look out for, especially if you're buying a used Jeep, which is what I financially personally would recommend. But that's 5. This one, I was actually kind of trying to rack my brain for a 5th thing that I don't like about the Wrangler. I will tell you that I do love driving this thing. It's going back to number 1. It's not about the miles per gallon, but it's definitely about the miles per mile. So I will tell you, when you get a Jeep Wrangler, I don't know if you know this or not, but you are actually joining a gang. It's kind of like a motorcycle club, or any kind of if you have any kind of car that has a following. I've got Mustangs, so a Mustang club. But Jeepers are a little bit more hardcore. You have to wave to everybody in a Jeep. Now there's some debate on that, if it's a Wrangler only, it's a Jeep wave. I'll wave to just about anybody, just because I like to get waves back. But if you're driving something that I can tell that you're just driving a car at that point, and you don't care it's a Jeep, I'm probably not gonna wave to you. But if you've got something that like a Liberty that's lifted tires, white switch, you care about the Jeep life, I'm gonna wave to you. And I wish that more people would. It's not just a Wrangler wave, and some people get elitist about it, which is not the right attitude. We all have vehicles. Not everybody can afford a Wrangler. Like I said, they are kind of expensive to get into. But the fact is that you are going out, you're having fun with your vehicle, you're customizing it, you're doing certain things to it to make it your own. That kind of speaks that you want to be part of that community, and so you should get a wave. People will help you out that you don't even know, complete strangers. I've had it where I got off the trail on my old Jeep, and I had an issue with my front drive shaft, and it was making a noise, and I just took it off so that when I was driving on the road, it wouldn't be an issue. I had like 2 guys in Jeeps just pull up, and they're like, "Hey man, you need any help? You need any tools? What's going on? Blah 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 blah." And it's like, it's a simple thing. It was a couple bolts. You take the drive shaft out, and they were willing to basically rebuild my engine there on the side of the road if they had to. I felt like. So with that, just kind of community, that's what you're getting into. And I guess this is more of a pro now than a con that I think about it. But if you're not ready for that lifestyle, you're getting into it, and you need to be prepared. So this has been my top 5 reasons why I hate the Rubicon is what I have, but the Wrangler